So houseplants have been a hobby of mine for a couple of years now, and there's one thing I would like to caution people new to the hobby about, and it is in regards to larger houseplants like this pygmy date palm, my dragon tree, this cat palm. I've got a few pretty big ones in here, the yucca cane. When it comes to larger houseplants, specifically when you see them at big box stores on sale for like 50% off or something, you probably think that you're getting a pretty good deal, especially when, let's say it was like 40 some dollars before and it's on sale for 20 something. It probably looks like a pretty good deal. And in a lot of ways, it is a good deal. What you got to consider though is the larger the plant, the larger the problems. So if you buy a plant that has mealybugs, for example, treating it is going to be a lot more difficult with a big plant than it would be with a small plant. Even something as simple as watering. Let's say you buy distilled water to water your plants. Well, a bigger plant is going to take more distilled water and is going to cost more money. Another thing you got to consider is repotting it. So when you do finally have to repot it, it's going to be a lot more of a hassle than it would be if it was like a medium or smaller sized houseplant. For example, my pygmy date palm was super root bound when I bought it, and I ended up needing to repot it into this pot that is, 12 by 14, 12 by 10, I'm not sure, but it's a decently sized pot, and repotting it took a lot more soil than repotting this sago palm did. And sometimes repotting them pretty early on is going to be almost necessary, because in the case of my aglaonema, for example, this really big one that I had, it was in a really big pot with super mossy soil. It was in a really big, deep pot, and it turns out root rot had probably set in pretty early on, and I should have repotted it almost right away. And bigger pots, of course, cost more money. When you're repotting a bigger plant, you're going to spend more on potting mix. What I'm trying to say is it's not always as good of a deal as you think it is. So maybe be a little cautious and a little more conservative about what I just had to straighten out a leaf there. What larger houseplants you get. Like if you're really familiar with the plant and you don't see any issues with the soil that it's in, then for sure, I would say you're perfectly good with buying it. But if it's a plant that you're super unfamiliar with, just go into it understanding that if something goes wrong with it, it's going to be much more of a hassle to treat the plant for pests, to repot it, to trim it back. Everything is going to be more work than it would be if you got a smaller plant or if you had just gone with something that you were more familiar with. Even with plants that you're reasonably familiar with, like this money tree, for example, I figured I would be fine buying a large money tree because I'd had success with them in the past. And for whatever reason, it just keeps dropping leaves even after I repotted it. And I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with it. I'm hoping it's just maybe not dealing with the winter well. I don't know. But bigger plants mean bigger problems. That doesn't mean they can't be great. My pygmy date palm has done really well. My yucca cane is my best performing plant, if you will, and I've had it for maybe about 5 years now, and it's done fantastic. And then there are others like my dragon tree that really wasn't doing well at one point. It's a little droopy today, but it really wasn't doing well at one point, and I ended up repotting it, and I regularly treat it for mealybugs, and it's done very well, and it feels good. It feels good to have it thrive. But yeah, just wanted to throw that bit of advice out there for anyone who needs to hear it.